do we have a fantasy star on our hands here, George? Here is the question with Jaden Daniels of the Washington Commanders. A lot of folks went into the fantasy season saying, hey, look, maybe this isn't Anthony Richardson, but it could be the next best thing. I'm here to tell you, I don't know. I'm sort of feeling like Daniels could be better than Anthony Richardson.
I don't know if I'm going to go there yet, all right, but I think he's in the conversation, yeah. What did we hear at draft time? A lot of people wanted a quarterback who can move, right? You don't want the guy who's going to take 5-7 steps and throw the football anymore because you want that additional rushing yards. You know, you get 50, 60 yards, that's a touchdown, right? That's why Josh Allen is so valuable. Lamar Jackson is so valuable, right? You go up and down. Jalen Hurts. You go up and down here. I think Daniels is going to be a good quarterback. I think Washington got their guy, and he can throw the football too. We know McLaurin's a really good wide receiver. It may not be much else there. We'll see what McCaffrey can be. Luke McCaffrey can be there in time. But, you know, I do have hope for him. I think at season's end, he's going to be a quarterback one. It may be a low-end quarterback one, but a quarterback one nonetheless.
Yeah, I was really impressed watching him in that game. All right, now Anthony Richardson, look, he's going to have a big year. He's going to have a big fantasy year. There's no question about it. I don't know about the long-term viability here. And look, give him credit. He hung in there with the Houston Texans. My fear for him, George, is that when you go back and you watch film, if you protect the deep ball against Richardson, he could hurt you with his legs. And that may be where all of his fantasy value is coming from. I cannot see him throwing 2 70-yard bombs like he did again.
That should come in time, right? Practice time. I think he will get better here. I think Richardson's going to be fine. Does need to learn how to avoid hits. All right. Once again, that hit. Remember that hit from Tua last night? He initiated it. Slide. The rules are made for you not to get hit. Take advantage of them.
Let's roll. This is SportsRage. I am Gabriel Morency. The pimps, the players, the hustlers, the people to bust them, and everybody else in between. Let's do this thing. The Wicked Wednesday has begun, and the drama continues in the Bronx. There's more drama than an episode of Melrose Place. We have a 5-5 baseball game right now. We're in the bottom of the 5th inning. 5 is the magic number. Meanwhile, the Yankees do have runners on first and second, and there is 2 out. Right now. So the stakes are high. The Yankees were up 5-0. I'm sure you already knew that. Complete collapse, defensive breakdowns, errors, one mistake after another in the infield, outfield, and the Los Angeles Dodgers capitalized and put 5 runs on the board after trailing 5-0 and what felt like was inevitable that we were going back to Hollywood for Game 6 on Friday night. So we've got ourselves a series. We've got ourselves a big-time baseball game that we'll be keeping our eye on here this evening. We've got a lot of stuff to bet on if you're not locked and loaded just with the baseball. Obviously, this is one of the biggest World Series ever. The TV ratings tell us this as well. The ratings are great. But there is college football going on. We got NBA basketball, NHL hockey. And, really, I see the Pelicans are playing the Warriors again tonight. Why? Imagine, you're a Warrior season ticket holder. You want to go, seriously, you want to go on a Tuesday and a Wednesday night to see the Pelicans back-to-back nights? If you're the NBA, don't you guys have enough money? Don't your teams have enough money that you don't need to say, you know what? We really don't want to fly back here later because it's going to cost us money, so let's just bang off those 2 games. The COVID era is done. Right? Oh, remember before, all right, let's travel, let's bang off the games and do what we can. We'll play 2 in a row and stuff. Fine. You got to make things up as you go. Fine. Seriously? The NBA, who does this? The NBA does this. So not only you got to pay money to go to the game and the players aren't going to play, but then on top of it, you got to pay money to go see the same team again. So I really don't get it. So the Warriors won last night. I guess they got Wiggins back tonight. I figured the Pelicans would win tonight, but I don't want any part of it. Just give me the over the basketball game. I'll go over the number tonight with the Pelicans and the Warriors. So we'll go over the number there. We have a cool hockey game tonight, the National Hockey. We got a couple of cool games tonight, actually, in the late night hours for the Puckheads. out there. We got the Vegas Golden Knights and the LA Kings that are starting in a couple of minutes. Nobody's hotter than Vegas right now. Vegas are smoking hot. 7-2-1 on the season? These guys are 8-2 to the over. Vegas are putting the puck in the net. They're lighting the lamp. The total is 6 in this game. For me, it would be the over or nothing here. And the LA Kings lost to the San Jose Sharks last night. Now they're in a bad scheduling situation. The Knights generally beat the Kings as well. So for me, like I said, I think the over is the look here, and I think the Vegas Golden Knights will beat the LA Kings tonight. And we always say, listen, although everyone from LA won the other night, but you got the Dodgers playing, the Kings playing, they both probably aren't going to win. So I'm going to use the Kings as a sacrifice, Halloween style. Sorry, we're throwing the LA Kings to the sports gods. Oh, the deep hit ball, but it's caught. We're throwing the LA Kings to the sports gods for the Los Angeles Dodgers, the altar of the Dodgers. So let's do this thing. Yeah, so you got the Hughes brothers playing. A lot of people excited about this matchup tonight. The Devils and the Vancouver Canucks. Kind of a late start here in Vancouver, actually. They don't usually start this late. They usually start at 7 o'clock local time. This is a little bit late, this game, I guess, for television purposes tonight. The Vancouver Canucks, they should be a good home team. They kind of were in the playoffs, you know what I mean? Like the arena has gotten better over the years in Vancouver. I know in the old days it was really rocking, but there was like a down. Like when I came here, they weren't very good, and it was negative in the arena, and people were booing the team, throwing jerseys on the ice, throwing beer cups at them and stuff. And like it's positive now, and it's loud as hell. Like it is a pretty cool place to watch a hockey game, actually. And I wouldn't have said that like 5 years ago. At first, I thought it was kind of lame. I was like, wow, this is like a crap ass production. They put no effort into this. The arena kind of sucks. And like they fixed the arena up, the production, the sound system, everything's much better. So, and the Canucks, people love the Canucks. The Canucks are a very like successful, popular team. Yet they're one of these teams that, they keep blowing leads at home all the time. So they're generally not a great home team, like for betting purposes, because they're favorites and then they lose. So if you look at them at home so far this year, they're 1-0-3. All right, they've lost 3 times in overtime or a shootout at home this year, and they've only played 4 games. So tonight they play the New Jersey Devils. Devils 6-4-2 on the season. Canucks 4-1-3. So one thing about the Canucks, when they lose, they usually lose in overtime. Like they're really good at like getting points all the time. They really do just sort of rack up the points. Remember they were down 3-1 to the Carolina Hurricanes in their last home game. And they came back, and then they lost in overtime. They tied it at 3. So I think the Canucks are the play tonight. They're kind of due, so to speak, at home. And I know they're very conscious of this, about, like, getting off to better starts at home. And when you're off to a better start, actually getting it done. Total is 6.5 in this game tonight. And once again, like, listen, you guys know me. Like, college football, I bet overs. NBA, I bet overs. College basketball, I bet overs. Baseball, I'm more of an under guy. Hockey, I'm an under guy. But to me, I could see there being goals in this hockey game tonight with the New Jersey Devils and the Vancouver Canucks. The Canucks are kind of shaky on defense. They don't have great defensemen, and the Canucks are very good up front. They've got a bunch of dudes that can put the puck in the net. We know about the New Jersey Devils' offensive skill that they have. Everybody's on the Hughes brother parlay tonight. I don't know. Do I want to be part of the hipster crowd? Is it actually gonna win? I guess that's the key. So yeah, everybody's on the Jack Hughes. Let's see, Jack Hughes to get a point. Let's see what it is. We'll put this together. So Jack Hughes to get a point, and Quinn Hughes to get a point. So Quinn and Jack. Here's Quinn. And we don't want shots on goal. I want points. Here we go. Points parlay here. Jack Hughes is minus 240, over 0.5 to get a point. His brother Quinn minus 210, so it's plus 110 the parlay. So Jack Hughes to get a point, Quinn Hughes to get a point tonight. They're brothers. They play on different teams. They're both studs, right? They're both going to be on Team USA. Great players. So yeah, plus 110. You know what? I don't actually hate it. It's plus money. I don't love it. I don't really hate it though. But let's be real, right? I'm a diehard Dodger fan here, and you know, I got my heart in my lungs and you know what I mean here. I kind of like, you know, I kind of went from anxious. Like last night, I was sort of like, man, we're going to win the World Series, I think, tonight. I think we're going to do this, right? But I wasn't like overly like, oh, yeah, it's over. Tonight, I was like, oh, God, Garrett Cole, man, he's going to be good tonight. And he was. And it went exactly the way I thought, even though I put another nickel on the Dodgers tonight. It went the exact way I thought it would to start. I was like, oh, yeah. Right, the Dodgers 0 for 26 suddenly on offense. Everything is turned. It's like sports betting, man. Baseball and golf and sports betting. Very, very similar, right? You could be, just because you eagled or birdied one hole doesn't mean you're going to bird your eagle the next hole. This is Sports Rage.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Right here with you on Pro Football Today on SportsGrid. Odds in motion, trying to see what lines have moved throughout the week.
Never felt more comfortable in this set than I do for this year. I'm ready. I'm just getting angry. The hot takes are going to be here all long, people.
What in the world is going on in Miami, Dom?
It's not particularly anything to shy away from just because many people are on top of it.
Hot take, hot take.
I think this line is asking you once again to take New Orleans.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
This is Sports Rage. I am Gabriel Morency. We're going into the bottom of the sixth inning right now at Yankee Stadium. The game is tied at 5. Big time drama going on. Dodgers are now +4, right where we started pretty much. +115. Yankees -145. Total is 13.5 in this game. I thought it would be a lower scoring game tonight. I really did. I thought Cole would bring it, and he did for the most part until the wheels fell off. And it really wasn't his fault. But at the same point in time, it kind of was. You've got to cover the bag, bro. It's the World Series. Like, it's the World Series, man. Like, you got to cover the back. And people are talking about Rizzo. Rizzo should have charged the ball. Yeah, but at the same point in time, Rizzo's worried about the ball getting past him. So, right, he made the play. That, if you really, it's on both of them, but if you really want to get down to it, Garrett Cole opened the door by not covering first base. All right, and then there was the comedy errors when Volpe throws the ball to Chisholm at third base. I talked about it before the series started. If I was the Dodgers, I'd try to make the Yankees make some plays. You know what I mean? The show us that you can play defense. They can't. We see this. They can't. But Aaron Judge can, which is crazy. You see a wild catch by Aaron Judge on Freddie Freeman at the wall. And then he drops a routine pop fly to center field, pulls the old wide receiver, took his eye off the ball looking at the runner at first base. I don't know why he did that, but he did. And then the floodgates open, and here we are right now in a 5-5 game. Big time drama. Gratterall comes in for the Los Angeles Dodgers right now in the bottom of the sixth inning. Let's bring in Brady Cannon and Cam Stewart. Brady, I know you're enjoying the World Series, despite being a San Francisco Giant fan. And I know that your son,
interest. Yes,
yeah, money can do that. And your son got a piece of the Dodgers tonight when they were down 5-0 at plus 680.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, first of all, I find it very difficult. I was talking about this with my son last night. When it comes to the World Series, I don't care who is involved. It's very, very difficult for me to root for the American League representative. I was born and bred a National League fan.
Interesting.
A Giants fan. I root for the West Coast. So therefore, I'm a Dodgers fan. I just cannot find myself. And I don't really hate the Yankees. I'm actually indirectly a close family friend of Aaron Boone's. I want to see him have success. How can you not enjoy watching Aaron Judge? But I just cannot pull for the Yankees. Yeah, I grew up hating the Dodgers as a Giants fan, but when it comes to this, I'm rooting for the West Coast. I'm rooting for the National League. And yeah, this has been fun as heck. I mean, game one was one for the ages. Freddie Freeman, unbelievable. Looked like we were headed back to LA on Friday night. We still might be. And then all of a sudden, we've got a tremendous game here. Our friend and the guy that appears on your show quite often, Gam Blue, I saw he tweeted out, he took the Dodgers live at 4-1. And like you say, my son, when Aaron Judge came up with the bases loaded, I think it was the fourth inning, he took LA at plus 680, looking like a pretty good bet right now.
Ballsy. And I like your style, though, Brady. And I've gotten into it with people before. And, it was a big debate. And Cam, you'll know this. It was a big debate in Canada about were you pulling for the Edmonton Oilers, right, or the Florida Panthers because they were Canadian.
Right, yeah.
And older people, Brady, older sports fans were like, yeah, I want the team from Canada to win a Stanley Cup more than I do. I want the team from Florida. And it actually means something to them. Like they go to the bar, and they're not a fan of the Oilers, but they were pulling for them. They're betting on it, etc. But a lot of younger people are like, no, I hate them, F them. I hope they lose. And I'm the same way as you, Brady, in the sense that there's no love lost between me and Ohio State and Michigan State, let me tell you.
Right.
Like, I don't like them. Like, I don't say that. Like, I don't have any interest in going there. Once a girl, she was nice. She thought she was being cool because I was a sports fan, and she came in. She goes, oh, I got you this T-shirt. And it was an Ohio State T-shirt.
Ouch.
And I looked at it, and without missing a beat, I said, thank you very much. And I picked up a bunch of beer bottles and butts and everything that were on a coffee table, and I used it as a rag. I said I needed a new rag, and I used it.
I remember that. I was there.
And I told her after, I said, listen, like, I appreciate it, but nothing like, don't do that ever again. So, like, I mean? I said, I don't want to be a jerk, but, like, I used a rag. So, I'm that way. But, like, when Michigan State, whatever, I'm a Big Ten guy. So,
yeah. Right.
If they're in a championship, if it is what it is, I remember Michigan State were in the national championship. I'm like, man, I hate these son of a bitches, but you know what? They're representing our conference. And my biggest thing, Brady, the last thing I'll say about this is you're only as good as your rival. I would rather my rival be a champion. You know what I mean? Well, our rival sucks. Oh,
Hey,
good for you. Your rival sucks. It's like, no.
We compete
It's like,
against
no,
the
our
best every
hated
day.
guy,
Yeah.
our hated team is a champion, and we're champions, like Michigan. Yeah, we're, you know what I mean? We don't fear them winning because we're champions too, and it represents and it shows everyone our conference is better than your conference. That's how I look at it, Cam. And I'm totally a National League guy through and through.
Yep.
American League ball sucks.
I agree with
Well,
you.
and I always enjoyed the pitcher having to bat.
Yes, Brady.
Softball. It's softball, American League. Well, now it's all the same,
softball.
Cam, because they made the same damn rules.
I hated it.
It was the thinking man's game. The American League, dude, it's like John Gibby. Gibbons, our manager in Toronto before.
Yeah.
The guy's drinking a bottle of Crown Royal in the dugout. He's sitting there. There's no thinking in the American League. There's no thinking. You sit there.
Go
You
hit
hope
some more, guys.
Like American, the National League in the old days, your mind spinning. You're like, man, I got to take this guy out, but I'm going to have to put him at shortstop. And if I bat him now, I'm going to have to do this. It's like chess and checkers, guys. Let's just call it out for what it is.
You're right. Tony La Russa admitted that. I mean, when he was managing the Oakland A's, and I think he talked about going to a National League team, or I can't remember how the scenario broke down, but Tony was very honest about it back in his heyday when he was, before he started drinking the Crown Royal and managing the Chicago White Sox on trip number 2. He talked about how the National League takes a lot more to think about, a lot more strategy.
Yeah, they took all the thinking out of the game. Now it's just all right. Hit a home run. It is what it is. All right, we'll get into some NFL, and I'll ask the golf guys here why there's no golf. Seems strange to me.
Oh, there's golf.
When you talk about how these series came to a head and what has been happening in this postseason for the Yanks, offensively, it hasn't been Aaron Judge.
Baseball is such a big win here. All you ask for, East Coast Monster City, West Coast Monster City, the biggest of biggest Titan superstars on both sides here, 2 mammoth fan bases. The entire country can buy into this one.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Did they talk about the play they ran at the end of the game when it was the worst player screen I've ever seen in the history of basketball? No. See, here's what you got to do, Sherwood. I respect you. You're fantastic. But damn it, don't blame the officials. When you have a game like that close, there's about 100 or 1,000 different things you could have done differently that could have won you the game.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
I tend to do this a lot, by the way. I do it more in baseball, but the anytime home run, where I may play 4 players at home. I call it covering the board. If I take 4 players, bet the same amount on each, I only need to hit 2 of them and I win money.
He's already got, 438 rushing yards on the season. He's looking like the old LT days where the Chargers were able to have that strong, dominant running back.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
They lost in Neyland to Tennessee, 24-17. Again, and look, that puts Alabama in a very tough spot. I was looking at the SEC standings just before. They've got 2 losses now in conference because they lost that Vandy game.
They're still one of the top-ranked teams in the country when they lose. Everyone else drops like a brick when they lose, except for Alabama.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Well, as always, when we go to a commercial break, something usually happens in a football game and in a big baseball game. So the Yankees have just taken a 6-5 lead. Sacrifice fly. If the Dodgers can get out of this, actually, down by 1, all things considering how this inning has gone so far, I think they'll take it. But the Yankees are back up on top right now, 6-5, and they suddenly become minus 300 favorites in this game. And the Dodgers are now plus 225. The Dodgers plus 1.5 runs minus 165. The total is now 13.5. So normally on Wednesdays we talk golf with Brady Cannon, but there's no PGA stuff this weekend. They were in Japan last week, so you get the the travel to come back. With that being stated, though, these guys are pretty hardcore and are always usually playing somewhere, but there's always a golf tournament somewhere. It's like it's always happy hours somewhere. There's always going to be a golf tournament somewhere, but I was, whatever, Brady, I figured it's a good time we can focus in on some football, actually, but we do have a hockey game coming up in a couple of minutes here. Cam, what's your pick for the Devils and the Vancouver Canuck game?
I'll take the Vancouver Canucks. Gabe to rebound. They almost came back. We hit that parlay at plus 1.5. I had the other night. I had them on the money line, too. I can't lie, but Peter pays Paul. Crazy stuff with S.J. Sharkey last night, too. Crazy. Hey, Gabe, they can't win a game, and then they win 2 in a row. I'm on the Canucks. This is a big game for them. New Jersey's coming to town. Vancouver will be ready for this game. Nice price. Pick them. Give me the Vancouver Canucks to beat the Devils.
Well, it's the battle of the Hughes brothers, and Brady. Jack Hughes, one of the best young players in the game, and Quinn Hughes, one of the best players in the game, and their brothers, American dudes. Mm-hmm. So a lot of excitement in the hockey world about them going head-to-head tonight. And I talked about it earlier. I'm weary of walking into this trap of playing the Hughes brothers parlay, but I'm going to get a piece of it. So Jack Hughes to record a point, so at least one or more points, and Quinn Hughes to record 1 or more points. And it's plus 110. So we're getting plus money. I'll take the Vancouver Canucks to win the game as well. And I'm going to go over 1.5 goals in the first period of play in this game. I think there's going to be some goals scored in this game between the Devils and the Vancouver Canucks. Both teams have a hard time keeping the puck out of the net. So let me just get this parlay in here. So
these guys would be really stoked if all that comes through.
You're damn right.
Yeah, everybody, though. It's like the basketball Bronny James play or something. It's almost like a sucker bet. Like, put it this way, like every air quote influencer today, Brady, doing videos and stuff. Everybody was on the Quinn Hughes, Jack Hughes. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like the Captain Obvious same game parlay, but they are studs and they are excited to play against each other, right? And so why not? Their families are going to be there. I'm going to get in on this. And we don't need them even to freaking score. They've got to get a point each. Plus 110, guys. So let's get this in. And I recommend over 1.5 in the first period of play between the Devils and the Canucks. The Canucks are strong starters normally. They'll score quickly in games, and they'll give up goals or whatever, but I think over 1.5 in the first period is a nice play here, and we'll take the Canucks at minus 120 as well, and then we'll get back to the football and the baseball. And I can't tell everybody. I was talking. We've been ripping the Jets all week, and kind of rightfully so. And I've been like, how are the Jets favored against the Houston Texans? But now that the game is approaching, Brady, I'm sort of getting a weird sort of like this has like trap written all over it. Halloween night, MetLife Stadium. Yeah, the Jets lose all the time, but they're kind of like 4 plays away. Like, I don't really like if ands and buts, but their kickers miss so many freaking field goals. Things could be a little bit different for them. How do you feel about the game tomorrow? Is it justifiable that the Jets are favorites?
Yeah, I think it is. I mean, I make the Texans a 1.5 point favorite. So the fact that the Jets are 1.5 or even 2, there's not a whole lot of difference between that. You guys know that 1 point, 1.5 points either side of 0. There's not a ton of difference in there. I also feel I've kind of been down on the Texans for most of this season. I think they've been underachieving. They've had a chance to really put teams away, and they have not. They allowed the Colts to cover in both of their games. They should have killed the Bears early on in the season. They couldn't put them away. But I think the teaser is the way to go. Whoever ends up being a dog here by 1.5 or so, you tease them by 6 points. I think that's a good bet.
I've never met a teaser that I didn't like, Brady, so I don't have a problem with that. Here's an NBA play for everybody. James Harden over 40.5 rebounds, points, and assists.
you talk about how these series came to a head and what has been happening in this postseason for the Yanks. Offensively, it hasn't been Aaron Judge.
Baseball is such a big win here. All you ask for, East Coast Monster City, West Coast Monster City, the biggest of biggest Titan superstars on both sides here, two mammoth fan bases. The entire country can buy into this one.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
Did they talk about the play they ran at the end of the game when it was the worst flare screen I've ever seen in the history of basketball? No. See, here's what you got to do, Sherwood. I respect you. You're fantastic. But damn it, don't blame the officials. When you have a game like this that close, there's about 100 or 1,000 different things you could have done differently that could have won you the game.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
I tend to do this a lot, by the way. I do it more in baseball with the anytime home run, where I make like 4 players hit home run. I call it covering the board. You know, if I take 4 players, bet the same amount on each, I only need to hit 2 of them and I win money.
He's already got 438 rushing yards on the season. He's looking like the old LT days where the Chargers were able to have that strong, dominant running back.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
They lost in Neyland to Tennessee, 24-17. Again, and look, that puts Alabama in a very tough spot. I was looking at the SEC standings just before. They've got 2 losses now in conference because they lost that Vandy game.
They're still one of the top-ranked teams in the country when they lose. Everyone else drops like a brick when they lose, except for Alabama.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Well, as they say, nothing worth fighting for is going to come easy, baby. And it's not coming easy for the Los Angeles Dodgers right now. But from where they were to where it is now, they were down 5-0. I'm not a fan that they're losing 6-5 again. But they were going to have to score again. It just is what it is in this series. So it's 6-5. We're going to the top of the 7th inning right now. New updated number. Dodgers are plus 210. Plus 210 on the money line. Total is 13.5. And the Dodgers plus 1.5, minus 125 right now. All right, Brady Cannon, Cam Stewart in the house with us. So I was saying all week I was kind of leaning Texans, and I like where you're going with the teaser. I'm going to tease it, and both these teams are sort of offensively challenged in a way, or at least the Texans. Yeah. The Texans play to the under, right? Like their offense isn't clicking. They do have a lot of injuries. Tank Dallas isn't putting up the numbers that he did.
Yes,
a lot of penalties. Their defense is good, though, right? Really Their defense is good, and we know that the Jets have sort of struggled, but I found it interesting. Yeah, the Texans are 16-6 to the under in their last 22 football games, but we have a low total here with an even 42 here, but Texans getting 2 points, and you said it, Brady, I saw you can sort of see the warning signs early. Number one, the Texans were a little bit overhyped coming into the year, so they're a little bit overpriced. But I caught on against the, week 1, they had the wild game against the Colts. But then week 2 against the Bears, that game was close, man. Then Caleb Williams' second game. And Caleb was struggling. It was his second game in the NFL only. And you could see the signs of Houston sort of not being in that same sync of offensively. And it sort of continued. But while people are down on them, they're also a 6-2 football team, Brady. Yeah, they do find ways to win. So I think people are being a little bit too critical of, well, they played a lot of close games. They haven't blown anyone out. Yeah, they're 6-2, guys. You know what I'm saying?
Well, and it's to be expected. I mean, they won 3 games. They won 3 games. They won 4 games. And then they went bang from worst to first, and they won the division. So the regression is expected. So you're right. They're not blowing people out. They're not, they're probably underachieving a bit. But at the same time, like you said, they're 6-2. And they've beaten, by the way, the Buffalo Bills. That's a pretty good win right there. So they're kind of getting it done with smoke and mirrors a little bit, but they're getting it done.
What's your pick, Cam, for the Jets and the Texans game?
Gabe, I think you're reading this absolutely perfectly. I got a weird smell about this game as well. Just the Jets -2, the line going up. Brady nailed it. I think you can you could tease the Texans. I don't think there's any way the Jets can win this game if on a 7-point teaser by 9 or 6.5 at 8.5. I think it's going to be a very close game, probably a 3 to 4 point game. Heck, if you even wanted to tease the Jets, I know they say don't cross 0, but you can get the Jets at +4.5, and I think both of those are very safe. And I'm not even going to screw around with the total, probably under, but I'd probably just tease a game that I like on Sunday, like maybe bringing the Bengals down to a pick 'em or a couple other games that I like. So we'll see what happens there, Gabe, but I think it's going to be very close, and I'm kind of with you. I think the Jets might win this game by 3 points. It's going to be very, very tight.
Shohei Ohtani is up at the plate right now to lead off this inning. So, and he grounds out. Ohtani just can't get into a groove. He grounds out. They're going to have to count on Betts or Freeman to step up. One thing I'll say, too, about this, and I was worried about it last night a little bit coming into today, that the Yankees scored a bunch of runs late last night, and their bats came alive, and it sort of continued into this to today. But I like the fact it's a lot like a football team even. You know, if a team is losing 42-0 or something, I like, you know what I mean, if they put up 28 points in the second half. It often will carry over into the next game. And I think the Dodgers' bats are the Dodgers' bats, guys, went seriously cold. It was like an 0 for 27 run, 0 for 26 straight at bats without a hit. They were getting no hit in the fifth inning before all those errors and stuff. And now they're back to their little meek ways again offensively. So I really think that the day off and getting back to California is going to help Ohtani. Not to start looking ahead here, but like I said, I'm confident in the Dodgers in Game 6. That's what I said before the series started. But hopefully we get a bonus here, and Freddie can go deep right now. So what do you think, Brady, of the quarterback change and the fact that we're getting 5.5 points against the Minnesota Vikings? That bubble, you and I talked about it. The bubble has burst with the Vikings a little bit. You called it coming off the bye. We were all over the Rams last week in that football game. Is this sort of a bounce back, they're going to blow the Colts out type of game? Or would I get the feeling of Vikings win, but they win a closer, higher scoring football game?
I could see that for sure. You know, I think the Vikings are, even though they have a really good defense, they can put up some points, and they have been putting up points. They feel like an over team. The Colts don't have a great defense. They feel like an over team. Flacco can put some points up on the board. I could see it going over the total. I'm not sure if the Vikings are ready to bounce back just yet. It could be that what we all thought preseason is starting to develop, and that's the fact that they're not tremendous. And Sam Darnold is still a little bit Sam Darnold. Now, I think they are a good team. I think Brian Flores is doing a wonderful job with the defense, and I think Sam Darnold is proving that he's a pretty darn good player in the right system. Great coaching, you know, offensively. I think things are working for Minnesota, but maybe they got a little, you know, it got a little fast in front of them, and now they're starting to, you know, kind of slide into being a solid above average team. They're not one of the best teams in the NFL. I think that's probably what we're seeing here. I made the game 6.5, and that was before they changed to Flacco over on the Colts side. I think sports bettors if you're going to back the Colts, you want Flacco to start at quarterback. If you're going to go against the Colts, you want Richardson in there. Now, the Colts are in a tough spot because you want to win games, and they know that Flacco gives them a better chance to do that. But Anthony Richardson's also the future of your team, and you have to develop this kid. And I think he still has a high ceiling. He's obviously taking a little while, but let's be honest here. He's only played about 7 or 8 games as a pro. I mean, he's still a rookie. So you got to give him time. You do have to invest in him. He's got a ton of athletic ability. He needs to learn accuracy, which can be tough to teach. But I understand it. If you're trying to win football games, you got to go with old Joe.
What catches your eye in the NFL this week? Another tricky week, in my opinion. A lot of short point spreads and a lot of inconsistent teams, right? What are we going to get from the Falcons? Cowboys coming off the West Coast trip, going to Atlanta. The Browns are certainly an interesting team with Jameis Winston, a quarterback, actually, hosting the Chargers in that football game. Bears-Cardinals, another tricky one, Brady. What Lions-Packers, fun game this week. What if there's a game I didn't ask you about, what's a game that you like this week?
Yeah, two games that I am on. One ugly dog. The Las Vegas Raiders getting 7.5, and then the Denver Broncos getting 9.5. I thought both of these lines were way out of whack. Now, the Broncos' numbers, their stats are heavily influenced by how good their defense is. So don't misread too much, what your number might come out to. I still believe the Ravens are a legitimate favorite. But it's similar for the Ravens and the Cincinnati Bengals, both laying these big numbers. You're not going to get rich betting big numbers on teams that have lousy defenses. Now, the Ravens are number one in the league at stopping the run, but they are dead last against the pass. Their passing defense is awful, and that's how Cleveland beat them. The Cincinnati Bengals continue to let teams hang around. The score is misleading against the Giants. The Giants let the last touchdown in. They could barely put away the Cleveland Browns. They were the beneficiary of a kickoff return early in that game. They got blown out by Philly last week. They have a very good offense. They just don't have a good defense. So laying that many points with bad defenses, I think, is tough. And oh, by the way, these teams have a short week coming up. They play each other on Thursday night. It's a division sandwich for the Baltimore Ravens, who come off of Cleveland. Then they have Denver, and then they go to Cincinnati on a short week. That's a real tough spot for Baltimore, and I think it's a tough spot for Cincinnati. What I talked about for all the reasons with their defense being porous and the fact that they're on a short week against the division opponent.
Brady Cannon, Las Vegas golfer on X, and check out the Super Contest and Survivor show and podcast right here on the grid. Brady, it's always a pleasure, man. Thanks for taking the time to be with us.
Thank you, gentlemen. Go Dodgers.
Let's try to get it.
Talk about how these series came to a head and what has been happening in this postseason for the Yanks. Offensively, it hasn't been Aaron Judge.
Baseball is such a big win here. All you ask for, East Coast Monster City, West Coast Monster City, the biggest of biggest Titan superstars on both sides here, two mammoth fan bases. The entire country can buy into this one.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
Did they talk about the play they ran at the end of the game where it was the worst player screen I've ever seen in the history of basketball? No. See, here's what you got to do, Sherwood. I respect you. You're fantastic. But damn it, don't blame the officials. When you have a game like that close, there's about 100 or 1,000 different things you could have done differently that could have won you the game.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
I tend to do this a lot, by the way. I do it more in baseball, but the anytime home run, where I may play 4 players at home. I call it covering the board. If I take 4 players, bet the same amount on each, I only need to hit 2 of them and I win money.
He's already got, 438 rushing yards on the season. He's looking like the old LT days where the Chargers were able to have that strong, dominant running back.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
They lost in Neyland to Tennessee, 24-17. Again, and look, that puts Alabama in a very tough spot. I was looking at the SEC standings just before. They've got 2 losses now in conference because they lost that Vandy game.
They're still one of the top-ranked teams in the country when they lose. Everyone else drops like a brick when they lose, except for Alabama.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
All right, let's do this thing. The Wicked Wednesday continues. This is SportsRage. I am Gabriel Morency, Sirius XM, Channel 159 on the SportsGrid radio and television networks. Thanks to Brady Cannon for kicking it with us on the program. Just for the record, a quick football update. The Liberty Flames have been extinguished for real. They lose back-to-back games, and I lose my season win total bet on them. Even though they're going to play a less game, the bet was still alive if it wasn't affected by the game being canceled. And I can't complain about only playing 11 games. They lost 2 games. I can lose 1 game. That was the deal. Like, you know what I mean? I can lose 1 game on the season. I needed to win 11 games. They can't do it. They lose tonight. And Max Muncy, what a shock. Max Muncy just struck out in a clutch situation. 6-5. Dodgers had runners on first and second. Max Muncy strikes out. We're going to the bottom of the 7th inning in a 6-5 game. Yankees still have the lead right now. Let's bring in Paul Bovey, kicking it with us. What's going on, Paul?
I got to shake my head because Liberty, Kennesaw State. So that's all that needs to be said there. You lose to Kennesaw State, you burn that ticket. You shouldn't even have a right to cash the ticket. So anyway, bigger and better things to come.
Hey, listen,
aren't you the guy that liked the Carolina Panthers win total to go over this year, Mr. Bovey?
Yeah.
How's that ticket doing under the pillow?
My ticket's already
It's
gone.
like a rotten tooth.
I lit it.
It's like a rotten tooth. That's what
I
that
lit mine
ticket
on
is.
fire, Gabe. Yeah. Use it as a rolling paper. It sucks.
Yeah, that's. Yeah,
Right, Paul, you were with me, Paul. You were with me. Don't deny it.
I was, but at least I'm a fan. I was a fan of the Carolina Panthers on Sunday because my survivors survived. I had both on Broncos, so thank you, Carolina Panthers. And a lot of it has to do with injuries, by the way. And now they're trading away their team. They gave away Deontay Johnson. I didn't even see what they got for him, but you know he was the anchor of their receiving corps, and he's gone.
They got a 5th round pick for him. Fifth round pick.
Talk about a garage sale. Oh my God!
You figure that someone else might have said, "All right, we'll give you a 4th round." You don't really get a ton of wide receivers.
Yeah.
So what the people wonder, what do the Panthers get out of it? They get the 5th round pick out of it, and they save a whopping $700,000 of contract money moving forward.
Hey, Gabe, Deontay Johnson's a very good receiver. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he was good. Like, the guy's talented. Like, a 5th is horrible for him. And yeah, you talked about the salary. What are these guys doing as an organization?
No, but
like, morons.
Other stud wide receivers go for 4th round picks. So
he's good.
They're not getting more. You're not getting more for him than you were getting for Stephon Diggs. You're not getting, you know what I mean? Like Hopkins, all these wide receivers got traded for 4th round picks. Right? What did Devontae Adams ended up getting traded for?
3rd.
Not even.
That's true.
That's true. Not even. Like you know what I mean? The Raiders got nothing for Devontae. The Raiders were just happy to get out of the contract. All these deals, whatever, dude. The owners, all they want to do is make money, man. If you're losing, what's the point of paying players if you're going to lose anyways? So in their mind, they're like, well, it's an extra $700K. That's a Bentley. It's a Bentley for my daughter's birthday or whatever. So 6'5", that's the cold world, but that's the way they think. Yeah, no, but all kidding aside, Paul, yeah, Liberty blow. It is what it is. So they lose 2 games right now. They had a 17-game consecutive game win streak going in the regular season, and that got blown up in the last 2 weeks. But to lose again, that's just sort of like, all right, they're not very good. Jacksonville State beat them. But as far as Kennesaw State is concerned, Kennesaw State covered a point spread again tonight. Against my money, I had Western Kentucky minus 24, and they were up by 24 most of the night, and they end up winning by 17. 31-14 final score. Kennesaw State covers the point spread back-to-back weeks. So we got, speaking of just quickly the NBA right now, 34-32 for the Warriors over the Pelicans, 59-44 for the Thunder over the Spurs. We just got started at that new cool arena in L.A., 10-4 for the Clip Show right now over the visiting Portland Trailblazers. So Paul Bovey's in the house with us. I look forward to Paul's football card this week. And Paul, did you go hard this week? Do you like the card this week more in college or the NFL?
Well, I sent you a few plays. I'm pretty heavy on the Rams this week. I don't mind giving it out. I actually got it +1 and even. I think it's tipped up to 1.5, and I even saw a couple 2s around. I just think they're a much better football team. You look at this Seattle team, I don't understand what people see in them, because outside of the game against Atlanta, which actually the scoreboard looks a lot better than what it was, 34-14, they haven't done anything. They gave up in game 2 184 yards on the ground to New England in what was an overtime victory, and that after starting the season against Knicks in his first NFL start. And then you look at the Giants, who beat him on the road, beat him pretty good, and that was without Neighbors. The 49ers laid 36 on them, and teams are running against them. 49ers 228, the Falcons 155. It doesn't seem like Seattle can stop anybody. Last week, your Buffalo Bills, Josh Allen had a big game, threw for 273, and they ran for 164 on the ground. James Cook went over the rushing yardage prop, and I had that. I figured that was pretty strong, and they made it a pretty low number. So the Rams are clearly a different team with Nakua in the lineup. 107 yards last week, throw in 50-plus for Kupp, and you got a dynamic receiving core, and then you got Robinson and Atwell, and Robinson, as you know, caught 2 touchdowns last week. So I think this has all the makings of a Ram win. I'm going to say I'll call it 30-23. LA Rams get back in the mix.
I was at the game in Seattle. One thing that really stuck out at me about the Buffalo Bills was Cook. You know, like I said, I've seen him live before, but I was like, wow, he's really dialed in. Like, he was getting to the corner, to the edge, like almost every time. But I think, as you stated, that could be a byproduct of Seattle. And Seattle are fighting on the sidelines. People are booing Geno Smith. It's been a bad week in Seattle. This is a gut check game for the Seahawks.
Talk about how these series came to a head and what has been happening in this postseason for the Yanks. Offensively, it hasn't been Aaron Judge.
Baseball is such a big win here. All you ask for, East Coast Monster City, West Coast Monster City, the biggest of biggest Titan superstars on both sides here, 2 mammoth fan bases. The entire country can buy into this one.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Did they talk about the play they ran at the end of the game when it was the worst player screen I've ever seen in the history of basketball? No. See, here's what you got to do, Sherwood. I respect you. You're fantastic. But damn it, don't blame the officials. When you have a game like that close, there's about 100 or 1,000 different things you could have done differently that could have won you the game.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
I tend to do this a lot, by the way. I do it more in baseball, but the anytime home run, where I may play 4 players at home. I call it covering the board. You know, if I take 4 players, bet the same amount on each, I only need to hit 2 of them and I win money.
He's already got, 438 rushing yards on the season. He's looking like the old LT days where the Chargers were able to have that strong, dominant running back.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
They lost in Neyland to Tennessee, 24-17. Again, and look, that puts Alabama in a very tough spot. I was looking at the SEC standings just before. They've got 2 losses now in conference because they lost that Vandy game.
They're still one of the top-ranked teams in the country when they lose. Everyone else drops like a brick when they lose, except for Alabama.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
This is SportsRage. I am Gabriel Morency. Still 6-5 in the baseball game right now. We're at the bottom of the 7th inning, and there are 2 out. There's nobody on right now. So the Dodgers, if they get out of this, they're going to have 6 outs to give to get another run back. Potentially we have extra innings in store and a big dramatic ending coming. Maybe we got a game 6. That's the crazy thing about sports. You don't know what's going to happen. But Paul Bovey's with us, and he believes that he knows what's going to happen in Seattle, Washington. I was just there at the football game, and as I stated, a lot of negativity in the stands, like about the football team. Like I even defended Geno Smith to a couple of Seahawks fans, and they told me, no, don't defend him. He's terrible. They think Lockett's old. Jackson Smith and Jigba really hasn't turned out like we all thought. Even myself, he's hit or miss. Their O-line sucks. You said it, Paul. They can't get to the quarterback. Like, dude, the Buffalo Bills D-line like blew up every play, bro. Like it was just imploding the pocket all the time. As you stated, teams are running the ball down their throat right now. And it should be noted that the Rams, in the NFC West, like these divisions, there's a lot of sort of one-sided rivalries. Oh, this team always beats them, or for whatever reason, this team gives them a hard time. The Rams McVay has owned Seattle. He's beaten them 8 out of the last 10 times straight up, 5-2 straight up, or 7-3 and 5-2 in the last 7. And this Rams team, it's the strangest division in football almost, guys, because this division is sort of wide open. San Francisco aren't running away with it. And, everybody's just hovering around 500 here. The Rams can get back to 500, even though they want to trade players away, and they're trying to rebuild still. They're still competing right now in this division. Cardinals 4-4, Niners 4-4, Seahawks 4-4, and Rams 3-4. Cam, what's your pick for the Rams and Seahawks?
I really respect Paul's opinion, but I think this is a get-right spot for Seattle. I think they show up in this game and absolutely, they play one of their best games of the year. I think it's a huge game for them after getting shellacked and embarrassed against Buffalo. It will be close. The Seahawks opened up as a 1-point favorite. Now they're getting 1.5. I think they win this game by 3 to 4 points, Gabe. I like Seattle, money line, plus 1.5 as well. I'll split it right down the middle. Seahawks win it tight.
All right. You know what? Just for that, Cam, I'm going to have to throw in another nugget here. Okay. In the last 4 games, 115 targets against Seattle, 84 receptions. That is hovering around 78%. So as Gabe mentioned, in addition to getting gashed on the ground, they're also getting torched through the air, both ways. So maybe their defense can resurrect itself on Sunday, but this is going to be a tough matchup for them because the Rams have real receivers. Now, I was against the Rams early in the year. I went against them several times, but it just looked like they had a different vibe the other night. They fell behind the Vikings early. They put on both teams a ton of points early on, 14-14, 20 minutes into the game. It slowed down a bit. But the Rams got the best of it in the end, made the key stops, and the offense looked relatively unstoppable. So I may be wrong, and Seattle's home field does mean something, but we'll see how it plays out. At any rate, it should be a very entertaining game.
It has meant less, Seattle's home field. I don't really know if it's a byproduct of the home field. It's just the team hasn't been great. But as I said, I was there, and I was hearing, and I heard on radio, and I was reading about it, and people are like, the Seahawks charge a lot for their tickets. So, season ticket holders are to the point now where they have to sell tickets. Like I was reading in the message board, they were like, I don't have a choice. I sell my tickets to the Niners game now. And they were talking about I sold my tickets to the Bills game because my season tickets are $6,000 a year now, right? So I get some money back, and you know what I mean? So people are getting sort of frustrated with the product and the price in Seattle now. And but the Rams don't have a ton of traveling fans, right? There'll be some, but at least, it won't be like the Bills taking the building over.
Sure.
So you like the Rams? You're all in on the Rams here, Paul. Rams team total over 23.5 in the football game. And Rams team total over 10.5 in the first half. We'll get Paul's take on the other side. We'll take a look at the Green Bay Packer and the Detroit Lion game. We'll keep you up to date with the World Series right now. Dodgers are batting. Enrique Hernandez is batting right now to lead off the 8th inning. So the stakes are getting higher right now. World Series on the line at Yankee Stadium. 6-5. Dodgers are now plus 280. Yankees minus 370.
you talk about how these series came to a head and what has been happening in this postseason for the Yanks. Offensively, it hasn't been Aaron Judge.
Baseball is such a big win here. All you ask for, East Coast Monster City, West Coast Monster City, the biggest of biggest Titan superstars on both sides here, two mammoth fan bases. The entire country can buy into this one.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
Did they talk about the play they ran at the end of the game when it was the worst player screen I've ever seen in the history of basketball? No. So here's what you got to do, Sherwood. I respect you. You're fantastic. But damn it, don't blame the officials. When you have a game like that close, there's about 100 or 1,000 different things you could have done differently that could have won you the game.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
I tend to do this a lot, by the way. I do it more in baseball with the anytime home run, where I may play 4 players at home. I call it covering the board. You know, if I take 4 players, bet the same amount on each, I only need to hit 2 of them and I win money.
He's already got 438 rushing yards on the season. He's looking like the old LT days where the Chargers were able to have that strong, dominant running back.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
They lost in Neyland to Tennessee, 24-17. Again, and look, that puts Alabama in a very tough spot. I was looking at the SEC standings just before. They've got 2 losses now in conference because they lost that Vandy game.
They're still one of the top-ranked teams in the country when they lose. Everyone else drops like a brick when they lose, except for Alabama.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
This is SportsRage. I am Gabriel Morency. Dodgers runners on first and second right now. Kike Hernandez got a single, and then Tommy Edman sort of a infield hit that Volpe couldn't handle. You could argue that he could have, but he didn't. So anyways, first and second. Will Smith is up right now. We know what Will's trying to do here. Will's swinging for the fences. He doesn't change his approach. It is what it is. Will's the sacrifice king. He actually leads the league in sacrifice flies. But there's only a runner on second right now. But come on, Will, hit one into the freaking gap, put one over the wall here, bro, or just keep the damn inning going. Whatever you do, I don't even want to say it out loud, but so I'm not going to say it. So we'll keep our eye on this. I tell you what, though, the Yankees pitchers, they keep putting new guys in here, and when you do this, it's like playing blackjack. Every hand, man, eventually the dealer's going to get you. It's like the baseball gods. The more pitchers you use, eventually one of them is not going to be on, and you got a problem. And we saw that with the Dodgers in the bullpen game. One thing with Will Smith, he's got a really good eye being a catcher. He won't chase. He tries to kill the ball, but he won't chase. And he's got a 3-0 count right now with first and second. Gavin Lux has already been up in this game with the bases loaded already.
You notice Gabe Canley's not on right now. That's the thing. He's missing his spots big time. And that's the thing. The Dodgers had this smart approach. Make this guy throw balls, and then he's going to put a meatball right down the middle of the strike zone and be ready to hit it. This is huge for the Dodgers here.
So bases are loaded. Nobody out. Gavin Lux is coming up to the plate. Shohei Ohtani is on deck. Oh, Nelly, this is it. This is it. This is it right now. Just for the record, I quickly see that Cooper Flagg's twin brother commits to Maine University. So let me just flat out say, evidently, his twin brother's not as good as he is if he's going to Maine. I'm just saying. I'm just going to, and we'll move on. Just keep it up to date.
I'm like, what, hockey scholarship game?
Well, if it's Cooper Flagg's brother commits to Arizona, I'd be like, oh, there's another one. Oh, you got this guy's like whatever. But he committed to Maine. He's playing basketball at Maine. So, we'll leave it at that. So we're at a commercial break right now. Yankees are thinking over the pitching situation. And dear God, 6-5, bases loaded. For the record, the Dodgers are now minus 210. Crazy money swings. The Dodgers were like plus 280 a couple of minutes ago. Now the Dodgers are minus 210. Yankees plus 165. Paul, Green Bay. I see the UTSA game on your card, but let's stick with the NFL right now. Green Bay and Detroit. What are you doing with that one?
All right, I went over. Gabe, look, Jordan Love is questionable. He did not practice today, but he made a statement.
Signs are sorry. I was going to say signs are pointing towards him playing, and that's why the number even came down half a point. Yeah, he's going to play.
Okay, if he plays, this game should be at 50. Nobody's going to tell me that Green Bay, especially given that Jair Alexander, who's their shutdown corner, is questionable at this point. Green Bay struggled in the game that he was out against Sam Darnold and the Vikings. They lost that one 31-29. You recall they fell way behind, mounted a comeback that fell short. But Quay Walker was also out, and that explains why Jacksonville was able to run against them. I went over on Bigsby, and he easily cleared that number. I think he ended up with 78 yards or something like that. But Jacksonville was successful against them. It just was a matter of Trevor Lawrence, once again, committing turnovers. He had a fumble. He had an interception. But he also had over 300 yards passing. And Jacksonville had a potent running game. So I just think that both teams have struggled a little bit defensively. Detroit, Hutchinson out. And they're not getting the same kind of tenacity on defense. Mason Rudolph, yes, he threw 2 interceptions, but he got the ball downfield to Ridley, who hauled in, I believe, 10 for over 100 yards. So I look for points in this game. It should be priced at 50, and I believe it will be if there's confirmation that Jordan Love will play.
Paul Bovey in the house with us for a couple of more moments. Paul, UTSA and Memphis, the Memphis Tigers. It's funny, I told people last year, I said, keep your eye on Memphis next year for like a playoff spot. Like they were building up towards it. They knew about the 12-team playoff. They're building up towards it. It hurts them a little bit that FSU weren't as good, but because that was the big thing. Oh, can they beat FSU? And they did, right? And they did beat Florida State, but the win against Florida State doesn't mean anything anymore, right? Like it was supposed to. But nevertheless, I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. They are 7-1 football team, but I think Boise are going to be the non-power power 4 to get in, etc. But what do you think about the UTSA and the Memphis Tiger football game, Paul?
Look, Memphis is a fake team. I don't look at records strictly, and you mentioned Florida State, and they barely beat them 20-12. They scored all of 21 points against Middle Tennessee. Middle Tennessee has given up 42 points in 5 separate games. Last week, they struggled with Charlotte. They've had a lot of trouble this year. North Texas up and down the field against them. And Navy racked up 56 points. Their quarterback, Horvath, 9-12, buck 92. They rang up, I think it was close to 500 yards. I don't have a lot of faith in Memphis. UTSA, far from a great team, but this is more or less a wager against Memphis, who I took 7.5 on the road, and I just think they're a house of cards waiting to collapse.
Paul Bovey kicking it with us. Gavin Lux, 2 strikes right now. Come on, dude. Seriously, you struck out last time with the bases loaded. What are you going to do this time? Just don't, God, this is stressful. I'm dying here, guys. This is just, I don't know, it's good. It's a blessing to be on the air, and my teams to be in these things, but this is stressful stuff, and trying to do a show, and I just want to, scream sometimes and drop, some severe F-bombs along the way as we stress this game out. And Otani's going to be on. Otani's coming up next. All right, that's good enough, Gavin. That's good enough, my man. That's a start.
There it is.
6-6. We got a tie baseball game. Good job, Gavin.
Okay.
You don't have to get a single. All right, you did it. You did your job. Good job. A lot of pressure. I get it. You're the 9-hitter. But he goes deep to center field, and it drives in the run. Sacrifice fly. And you know what? The Dodgers can do this again. Right? All you need is a deep fly ball here. Right? You got to get a fly ball. It's Otani. It's all we're asking for, Ohtani. Or you know what? A 3-run home run would be better, bro. And like, you know what I mean? Put an exclamation point on your $700 million contract.
Yeah, 3-run home run would be better, yes.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, yeah, our winning RBI cam in the World Series would be a nice way to end the season for him. You know what I mean? Like, even if
that was a productive out. No, and this is the thing about Ohtani. We know he's hurt. He's struggling. He can say all the things he wants. He's not the same. But you know what? Key at bat. Just do your thing, Ohtani. Put her in play. Put it in play.
Yeah.
Make them make an offensive play. That's all you got to do. Let's go.
Hit it to the right side of the left side of the infield.
Yes.
Hit it to third base or shortstop, or hit it into the outfield, and you're going to drive in a run here.
Correct.
Actually, you know what though? There's always the double play too, and he has a hard time. He has a hard time running. Oh my God, Ohtani! Did it hit him?
If it did, they got the lead.
No, there's first and third.
Yeah.
I can't believe anybody laid 373 with the Yankees with a 1-run lead against the Dodgers. I can't believe it.
Yankees are up 5-0. You could have got Dodgers plus 4.5, 3.5, 2.5. Like, you know what I mean? All this stuff. And some people hit money line over 6-1. Like, the books are going to get smoked if the Dodgers come back. Everyone who hit this game live, like with the Dodgers, huge.
Paul Bovey. Great stuff, Paul.
Okay, Paul. Guys.
Welcome.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the game starts so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Right here with you on Pro Football Today on SportsGrid. Odds in motion, trying to see what lines have moved throughout the week.
Never felt more comfortable in this set than I do for this year. Brady, I'm just getting angry. The hot takes are going to be here all season, people.
What in the world is going on in Miami, Dom?
It's not particularly anything to shy away from just because many people are on top of it.
Hot take. I think this line is asking you once again to take New Orleans.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
Let's roll. This is SportsRage. I am Gabriel Morency. More drama. While we are gone, the Los Angeles Dodgers have taken a 7-6 lead. Gavin Lux, we were here with Gavin Lux right when we went to the break with a sacrifice fly to center field. And good job by the Dodger hitters, not trying to do too much. understanding the situation, right? You don't need to be a hero. You don't need to put it over the wall. Just, hit it to either the right or left side of the infield, depending on the situation here, and or just get it into the outfield. And Lux was able to do it. And then Mookie Betts looked like he was trying to do it. Like Betts almost looked like, you know what? I'm just going to go up here. I'm going to pop up to center field, and we're going to take the lead. I'm not going to screw around and try to play hero here. And they do. So suddenly the Dodgers have a 7-6 lead, but the Yankees have 6 outs to give. We're only in the bottom of the 8th inning right now, and suddenly the Yankees are plus 195 underdogs. Wild swings in this game. The Dodgers are now minus 245 on the money line. Ian Cameron steps up and joins us. Babano, game 1 of the World Series was an epic classic, the one that I was at on Friday. And in between, it's been anticlimactic. Right? The Dodgers were winning. They were kind of boring games, unless you were betting on the Dodgers. Last night, the Yankees blew them out. Wasn't a lot of drama. So it looks like the first game and now this game, the first end and potentially the last end here, turning into a real classic tonight.
Well, and there's still work to do. I agree that what Cam said earlier about this. That's just great, professional plate approach by the Dodgers there. You don't have to swing for the fences, get the sac fly in. They did it twice to get the lead, and that's actually a great job by Luke Weaver. He came in a brutal situation, 6-5, bases loaded, and actually he'd only give up 2 runs in that spot. Give him a lot of credit to keep the Yankees alive, and they've got the big boppers coming up. Soto, Judge coming up to start the bottom of the 8th. So put up or shut up time for the Yankees. These are your big hitters. Now's the time to get it done.
Yeah, too bad Ohtani has a separated shoulder right now. Otherwise, maybe we would see a dramatic appearance by Ohtani on the hill to close out the World Series like he did the World Baseball Classic. He's been he's been pitching. Like, people don't realize it. Like, he's been pitching in the bullpen. Like, he's been warming up and, as part of his overall rehab. And, I saw a video the other day, and he was throwing, 97 miles an hour. And I was thinking to myself, they were like, no, he can't pitch. And I'm thinking, I don't know, he looks like he can freaking pitch. And a lot of people thought, you know what, they're just going to sit on it. Then they're bluffing. But it's not going to happen. But it would be dramatic if it did. But 7-6 right now, a lot of baseball left, as we've seen in this baseball game. The total is now 14.5 in this game. NHL hockey, the New Jersey Devils scored early, and then there's Alec Baldwin behind home plate. This guy's not in jail yet. Seriously.
Not in jail yet.
Is this how you're breaking curfew or something, bro? Is this a violation of your probation? Oh, I see Alec Baldwin behind home plate, lucking it up. Oh, yeah, it's funny. Eh?
Don't give him a prop gun. Yeah, this guy's dangerous.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, the set girl that worked on the set, it was her fault. She's in jail, but he isn't.
Exactly.
Right? They threw her under the bus.
Big time.
And I believe that the testimony, too, that he was a big tyrant. That's why things were things were unsafe on the set, because Baldwin would yell at everybody, listen, we got to freaking film this thing in 6 days. Hurry the F up. Then somebody ends up getting shot. But I think he's going back on. I think they want to recharge him or something like that. I don't know. He's going to get off. But there he is sitting next to Pat Sajak behind home plate.
What an odd couple, Sajak and Baldwin. That's a real tandem.
Yeah.
That's a big celebrity crew. All they're missing is that pervert Woody Allen.
Very handsy crew.
At least us Dodger fans, we have nice, clean cut personalities like Mary Hart.
Mary Hart, yeah. Nothing but class with Mary Hart. Great legs.
Class and sweetness. Yeah.
Dodger super fan is actually Rob Lowe. I think he's done some sleazy things.
Rob Lowe's all right, though. No, I got no problem with Rob Lowe. He's doing the Atkins diet commercials and stuff like that. I'll tell you, those what you said, there's more sleaze than that out there, Morency. He's fine. Don't worry about Rob Lowe. He's
Rob Lowe's got the gobbler neck going, but other than that,
the gobbler neck. He looks good for his age, Babano. What are you talking about? He's amazing. He looks
when you
young,
get that
bro.
age, you get bobbleneck. I get it.
I don't want to be cruel. I don't want to be a jerk here, Babano, but take a look in the mirror. I wouldn't be taking shots at Rob Lowe.
It's like 30 years.
I would just imagine the guy with Babano's haircuts taking a shot at Rob Lowe, Cam. Like,
I know.
yeah.
Settle down, Babano. The guy looks fantastic. I'd love to look like Rob Lowe. Settle down. You think you're a movie star here, Babano? What? The stud of Dundas? Give me a break.
Yeah.
So you relax. I'm with
We've
Morency
actually had some movies filmed here.
Rob Lowe with his chicken neck. His turkey
You got quite the ego, Babano. Quite the ego, I got to tell you.
Your hair looks great, though, Babano. Nice lid tonight. Perfect. Great forehead.
Thank you.
There you go.
No, it's too spiky. I don't know what you're doing. Like,
spiky.
he looks like Johnny Unitas.
Johnny Unitas, a little higher. Johnny Unitas kept it lower, Gabe. He's more like a fairway.
Go back to your slick back hockey referee do look.
There we go.
That was better.
You're right. Okay. You're right. This was more furry. I like when Babano's a real greaser, like an NHL.
No, the Kerry Fraser. They go with the Kerry Fraser. That's your pack.
Mob look.
You're the
Yeah.
Capper.
That's not a mob. You don't look like a mobster, Babano. You look like a referee. Like that's not a mob look.
No, it's a great look.
My mob look.
No. Just grease. That's what you are. You're a greasy ref.
Grease light.
Babano views himself as a very handsome, feared mobster, evidently. like, he thinks he looks like a mobster and he's handsome.
Neither.
Oh, dude, I look horrible.
You're like Mr. Burns looking in the mirror. Mr. Burns looks in the mirror and he sees like a ripped dude. And he's like flexing.
Yeah. Awesome. That was a cat.
When you talk about how these series came to a head and what has been happening in this postseason for the Yanks, offensively, it hasn't been Aaron Judge.
Baseball is such a big win here. All you ask for, East Coast Monster City, West Coast Monster City, the biggest of biggest Titan superstars on both sides here, two mammoth fan bases. The entire country can buy into this one.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
Did they talk about the play they ran at the end of the game when it was the worst player we've ever seen in the history of basketball? No. See, here's what you got to do, Sherwood. I respect you. You're fantastic. But damn it, don't blame the officials. When you have a game like this that close, there's about 100 or 1,000 different things you could have done differently that could have won you the game.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
I tend to do this a lot, by the way. I do it more in baseball with the anytime home run, where I may play 4 players at home. I call it covering the board. You know, if I take 4 players, bet the same amount on each, I only need to hit 2 of them and I win money.
He's already got 438 rushing yards on the season. He's looking like the old LT days where the Chargers were able to have that strong, dominant running back.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
They lost in Neyland to Tennessee, 24-17. Again, and look, that puts Alabama in a very tough spot. I was looking at the SEC standings just before. They've got 2 losses now in conference because they lost that Vandy game.
They're still one of the top-ranked teams in the country when they lose. Everyone else drops like a brick when they lose, except for Alabama.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
World Series continues at Yankee Stadium, and the pressure is starting to build right now in the Los Angeles Dodgers, and you can feel it. The Yankees, Jazz Chisholm nearly just got smoked with a pitch. Obviously not deliberate, control issues and nerves kicking in. And I like the decision here by Dave Roberts to come and pull the plug on training here right now. It's he's not himself, and we got a World Series on the line here. So there's first and second right now for the Yankees with one out. Oh, no. Dave Roberts goes to the mound and basically just told him, you got this, and turned around and walked back.
I like it.
Probably just could have screamed out from the dugout.
Chat with
if you actually had to go out there, buying a little time. That's what he was doing. He bought a little time, but he basically just went out. I was like, all right, you're going to pull him. Went out there and basically said, hey, you got this. Let's go. And turned around.
Dodgers are on available arms. That's why they're stretching Blake Trinan out as much as they can. Like, he's approaching 40 pitches right now.
Well, they're going with their best here, Babano, and they don't have to worry about, like, arms. They're going to have a day off here. Yep. They planned this from yesterday, but it backfired because Flaherty got out of the game so damn early. So then suddenly they had, like, 2 bullpen games in a row. Oh, boy. Is this catchable? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. All right, that's the best-case scenario right there. Little pop-out to short right field, and Mookie Betts is a vacuum. Mookie ain't playing around. So, like, Mookie got out there, and no one could tag up. Nothing can happen. And the big thing was, too, you don't want to get nickel and dime like the Dodgers just did to them, guys, where you end up, the Yankees get a runner on third base with one out, and then they know all we got to do is pop out here, and we're going to get a run. Right? So, good job down to 2 outs here right now. Man, this is huge because the Dodgers could put another run up potentially after. Here is Anthony Rizzo coming up to the plate right now. For the record, for the puckheads out there, Colorado just scored. It was 4-1. It's 4-2 right now. Good. In Denver.
Like, their whole
Devils
forward group is out. 6 of their top 9 forwards are out. They are an injury-riddled, decimated mess, the Avalanche right now.
Yeah. I saw that earlier today, actually, and I thought I got to bet against them, and I didn't because I'm only worried about this Dodger game. But, yeah, good call. Good call, Babano. I did end up betting on the Canucks and the Devils. So, they're trying to steal the bag. Oh, they tried to pick them off. Well, that was dangerous, man. The Dodgers, Will Smith. Wow. They tried to pick them off second base from home plate. That was pretty ballsy, man. 1-0 Devils, guys, after the first period of play. New in-game total is 5.5. Cam, you're on the Canucks already in this game.
Yeah.
I'm on the Canucks. The new total is 5.5. Babano, what did you do with this game? What do you think of the in-game now? What do you think is going to happen moving forward?
I actually took the Devils. They won in Vancouver last year, and they're a better road team, actually. Last year they were than they are at home, and I thought they'd, starting a road trip, you usually get focus. I think the over 5.5 is a good bet now at the current number. Last year in New Jersey, it was scoreless after the first period, and people thought, wow, this is going to be a low-scoring game. It ended up being 6-4, Vancouver. And then the game in Vancouver last year between these teams was 6-5. So I think it does open up, and I think you're probably getting a good number and a good price right now with over 5.5.
Trinan with the strikeout.
I like Trinan. Solid.
With the strikeout.
Deep effort from Trinan.
Oh, that was some. Yeah, and you know what? That was pretty epic of Dave Roberts too. In hindsight, good walking
move
out there and just sort of tapping him, saying, "You got this." Turning around and walking back and finishing it off.
He doesn't show much emotion
in the house.
Not that time he did. Wow, he's fired up. Should be.
Yeah. He was real fired up. So, I'm fired up.
Wow.
We're getting close. We're getting close, man. This is going to be epic, baby. This could be epic, baby. So 7-6 Dodgers coming up here. 4-0 for the other LA team in action. The Lakers got drilled tonight, and the Clippers are playing too. We'll get to the Clippers in a minute. We got that James Harden prop in play. But the LA Kings are beating the Vegas Golden Knights 4-0. I thought there'd be goals in this game, so I'm not surprised. Listen, the in-game total right now, guys, is 6.5. I thought there'd be goals in this game, but I thought Vegas would score some goals in this game. How the hell do you figure this out, guys? The other night, San Jose is in Utah, goes to overtime. Horrible scheduling spot, going from Utah back to San Jose to play a rested Kings team. They double up the Kings 4-2 last night, and now you get Vegas arrested team losing 4-0.
Yeah, Kings are angry after losing to SJ Sharkey. Very angry.
talk about how these series came to a head and what has been happening in this postseason for the Yanks, offensively, it hasn't been Aaron Judge.
Baseball is such a big win here. All you ask for, East Coast Monster City, West Coast Monster City, the biggest of biggest Titan superstars on both sides here, two mammoth fan bases. The entire country can buy into this one.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
Did they talk about the play they ran at the end of the game when it was the worst flare screen I've ever seen in the history of basketball? No. See, here's what you got to do, Sherwood. I respect you. You're fantastic. But damn it, don't blame the officials. When you have a game like that close, there's about 100 or 1,000 different things you could have done differently that could have won you the game.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
I tend to do this a lot, by the way. I do it more in baseball with the anytime home run, where I may play 4 players at home run. I call it covering the board. You know, if I take 4 players, bet the same amount on each, I only need to hit 2 of them and I win money.
He's already got 438 rushing yards on the season. He's looking like the old LT days where the Chargers were able to have that strong, dominant running back.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
They lost in Neyland to Tennessee, 24-17. Again, and look, that puts Alabama in a very tough spot. I was looking at the SEC standings just before. They've got 2 losses now in conference because they lost that Vandy game.
They're still one of the top-ranked teams in the country when they lose. Everyone else drops like a brick when they lose, except for Alabama.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
All right, it looks like the Dodgers are going to be going Walker Buehler in the ninth, which is the Dodgers. Listen, they're in a unique situation. They're running out of arms. They've had 2 bullpen games in a row because it wasn't supposed to be a bullpen game today, but Flaherty got lit up and he lasted an inning, right? So it suddenly became a bullpen game for them. I'm always torn. About this. Not really torn, and I've been more adamant against it, actually. And I know this being a Dodger fan / growing up in Montreal. And it's always been debated. Blue Monday, 1981, National Championship Series elimination game in Montreal. And the Expos were like the first team ever to do it. Nobody ever brought in starting pitchers before in that spot. And the Expos figured, you know what? Steve Rogers is our guy. He's our best pitcher. Let's put him out here, right? It's a 1-1 game. We're a trip to the World Series is on the line. Let's go with our best pitcher. The rest is history. Bill Russell put the ball over the center field wall, and the Expos bullpen erupted and famously said, why the F didn't you put us in? We would have got it out. And, you can't put a starter in that situation. In a modern era in baseball now, it's a little bit different. And Buehler's rested enough. Buehler throws heat. And Buehler's got balls of steel. That's the one thing. There was a reason, guys, that they lined it up that Buehler would pitch Game 7. Point blank. They were because Buehler's got balls of steel and he won't panic in a pressure situation. Buehler's problem is the poor bastard's coming off of 2 Tommy John surgeries. So he's had to adapt his stuff, but he's got his swagger back. Teoscar Hernandez gets on base to lead off the inning, and the Dodgers aren't playing around, man. They pulled Teoscar Hernandez for a pinch runner. So, they're looking for another run here right now. 7-6, and there's 1 out. So can the Dodgers tack on another run in a high-pressure, great situation? The Devils have just scored. This always happens. Whatever the stupid, taking over 1.5 in the first period, they score 1 goal. It's inevitable they're going to score a goal in the first couple of minutes of the next period. It always freaking happens. And here it happens. I wish it was the Canucks that scored instead, but I brought it up earlier, guys. And you know this, Babano, on the ice, guys. The Canucks, for whatever reason, they're struggling at home, right? They've won one home game. They're 1-0-3 at home. So they've lost 3 times in overtime and or a shootout at home. But nevertheless, they played 4 home games, and they've only technically won one of them outright. It's a little bit of a concern. The Canucks are a better road team. They've morphed into one of these teams like that.
Yeah, they have, and New Jersey's been a good road team, a better road team than at home last year. This year they have a winning road record, and that was a short-handed goal, by the way. Dawson Mercer cashes a goal prop for me. We had Dawson Mercer is on the top line now with Nico Hischier for the New Jersey Devils, and yet you're still getting prices like plus 320 on him to score a goal. So it's really great value. Those are the situations we talk about all the time on the ice, guys. Moving up to the top line, there's value on a player.
That is a good call. You got it. It's a good reason to listen to the ice guys because it takes time. Once this baseball stuff has died down, I'll get into some more hockey props. But Babano's bang on. And sportsbooks don't know who the hell these players are, and not enough people bet it for them to care. So they're not really, you know what I mean? They're not concerned about it. So, like, if, you know, like Babano said, like, if you'll know, you follow the team, you follow hockey, you'll know this guy just got moved up from, like, the third line to the first line. Or now this guy's playing on the power play now. Or he's bumped up to the second line now. He's playing with this guy now. Like, what do you think, Babano, of the Oilers now without McDavid? Who's going to be the prop mavens now to cash in? Because a lot of their players sort of are parasites, right, off of McDavid. Yeah. Like, you know, Cam, your guy, Zach Hyman. All right, how good is he? Let's see, bro. Let's see if you're not just banging in Connor's rebound now. You know, I want to see it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying you can't play, but prove it now.
You know what I see right now for the line combos for Edmonton tomorrow? Of course, a game without Connor McDavid against Nashville. I'm seeing Vasily Podkolzin, former Canuck, playing with Draisaitl. So
I like that
Podkolzin
guy.
is probably the guy with the great value now tomorrow night.
Good call, Babano. Good call. I agree. He's actually, you know what? That's actually a good move with him and Draisaitl. He's got that free-flowing style. It's a very good matchup, Gabe. Like I'm with Babano on this one. And you know what? Nobody, to Gabe's point, no one knows who the hell this guy is. It's a sneaky play. I
Playing
like
with
it, Babano.
Draisaitl, plus 600.
Yeah.
He's plus 600 at some books to score tomorrow night. No adjustment, none, zero.
He's fine.
And he's on the top line. Yeah.
Here's a quick one if you guys want a nice trend from the NBA. Jordan Poole. I bet this tonight. Jordan Poole over 3.5 3-point shots made. Jordan Poole, people like he's one of those players because he's polarizing and he got punched by Draymond Green and all that. But he's one of these dudes that he's already won, so he doesn't care. Like, he's actually one of the few people that are happy on the Washington Wizards. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like, he's like, all right, I'm in the NBA. I'm making a lot of money, and I get to score 25 points a game. And 20 play, you know, whatever. 22. He's averaging 22. Dropped 24 tonight. But Jordan Poole, guys, his 3-point prop shot tonight was over under 3.5 3-point shots made. He goes 4 for 9 from 3, but he's hit 4 or more 3-point shots in every game this year. So it's just one of those early season trends that the odds makers they're sort of catching on because it was 2.5, but he keeps getting 4 or more. So as long as it's 3.5, we'll just keep riding this Jordan Poole prop. We cashed that tonight. So the Dodgers got something going here, and Luke Weaver now is in a little bit of trouble. The Dodgers are really, really gunning for another run right now. They got runners on first and second, and there's one out. They're really looking for an insurance run here, and understandably so. So, Babano, I brought it up earlier. Oh, God, 3-0 Devils now.
Oh, I know. It's ridiculous.
You did say over 5.5. That was a good call.
Yeah,
I like the over this game, too.
Bet that. Yep. This is exactly what happened in New Jersey with the Canucks and Devils. Scoreless after the first, and the game ended 6-4. So we can see it starting to open up now. And Vancouver's got to open up even more now because they're down by 3.
All right. I hate doing this. It's minus 190, son of a bitch. I want to take the Canucks plus 3.5.
Yeah, it's a lot of juice, but I think they'll come back.
I really should have got in on the 5.5. I wanted to, but like I said, I'm just worried about this baseball game more than anything right now. So Kennesaw State covers a number again tonight, and Liberty loses. The Liberty Flames, they're extinguished for real. Their run is done. They're just Liberty again. So
they're not even going to win their conference at this point.
Yeah.
No, and nor do they deserve to. They played, dude. They were lucky to win so many times this year. It finally caught up to them, and then now this is just kicking in. I bet $1,000 on them too, and I lost this tonight, so I got a bunch of money on the Dodgers, and I just realized, son of a God, I'm losing Liberty tonight. But tomorrow night, Liberty are done, but tomorrow night we got Tulane and Charlotte. Tulane are 14.5-point favorites. Total is 55.5 at Banno. We got about a minute and a half here. What do you think of that football game tomorrow night?
And that was a big win for Jacksonville State. They're giving Rich Rod the old Gatorade shower in the locker room after the win tonight. They were very happy they beat Liberty in that game. So that'll be interesting. Yeah, Tulane-Charlotte, I like the over in that game tomorrow night. Charlotte's offense is starting to show some life. Now, I'd like them more offensively tomorrow if Brown, the Florida transfer, plays, Max Brown, but he did get banged up a little bit last game. We'll see. The backup might have to play, but I don't think they're stopping Tulane. This is a really awesome Tulane offense. They can run, they can throw. Darian Mensah's just been absolutely phenomenal at the quarterback spot this year for them. So I like the over more than anything. Be careful with laying the points. Tulane is definitely the much better team. Charlotte's been covering some numbers. They blew out East Carolina. They covered against Memphis, took them down to the wire. It's a lot of points to be laying with an improving Charlotte team on the other side.
Friday night, Boise State are playing against San Diego State. Ashton Genty's touchdown prop is even higher than I've ever seen it before. This is literally like, these are the highest props I've ever seen in my life. But Ashton Genty to score a touchdown is minus 2,000. 20 to 1. 20 to 1, Cam. Minus 2.
Talk about how these series came to a head and what has been happening in this postseason for the Yanks. Offensively, it hasn't been Aaron Judge.
Baseball is such a big win here. All you ask for, East Coast Monster City, West Coast Monster City, the biggest of biggest Titan superstars on both sides here, two mammoth fan bases. The entire country can buy into this one.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
Did they talk about the play they ran at the end of the game when it was the worst flare screen I've ever seen in the history of basketball? No. See, here's what you got to do, Sherwood. I respect you. You're fantastic. But damn it, don't blame the officials. When you have a game like that close, there's about 100 or 1,000 different things you could have done differently that could have won you the game.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
I tend to do this a lot, by the way. I do it more in baseball, but the anytime home run, where I may play 4 players hit home run. I call it covering the board. You know, if I take 4 players, bet the same amount on each, I only need to hit 2 of them and I win money.
He's already got, 438 rushing yards on the season. He's looking like the old LT days where the Chargers were able to have that strong, dominant running back.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
They lost in Neyland to Tennessee, 24-17. Again, and look, that puts Alabama in a very tough spot. I was looking at the SEC standings just before. They've got 2 losses now in conference because they lost that Vandy game.
They're still one of the top-ranked teams in the country when they lose. Everyone else drops like a brick when they lose, except for Alabama.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Well, the Los Angeles Dodgers are 3 outs away from winning their 8th World Series championship, and it would be an iconic one to be able to beat the New York Yankees at Yankee Stadium. At that, L.A. police right now are definitely in a panic.
Oh yeah,
like this isn't like a normal city, guys. Like this is L.A. like they're already. I know. I saw him the other day talking about it, and we're talking like every law agency in California is in LA. Like they called in SFPD, San Diego cops are there. Like they're all on standby basically. And the LAPD warned people. They said, if it gets out of hand, expect us to use action, which it's going to get out of hand. So I'm imagining, I don't really, I don't want to be negative or anything, but there's going to be a riot in like about 15, 20 minutes in Los Angeles, guys, if the Dodgers get these next 3 outs. It's going to explode, especially downtown LA, and specifically East LA. And these people won't be scared of the cops. Like, so this thing is going to be like lit. I'm sure like the cops are probably thinking, I'm sure they have a million different scenario plans for this, but I'm sure they're happy this isn't in LA on Friday night. That just would have been stupid crazy. Right? Like there would have been the people from the stadium rolling down the hill into the city, and the city would have been like, it would have been over the top, but they got to get there first. And here we go. It's Walker Buehler. So as I stated, it's always been the baseball debate over the years. Do you put the closer in, but the Dodgers are out of closers? Or do you go with a starting pitcher? And here they're going with the guy that they say has got a balls of steel. And for the record, Walker Buehler, a lot like Mitch Marner. I don't know if you saw that story, Cam, but Walker Buehler was robbed of his watch at Santa Anita Racetrack.
Wow. Yeah, a lot of dirtbags at Santa Anita don't wear a good watch. We talked about this.
It was a couple of weeks ago. It was like right before the playoffs. He was at Santa Anita Racetrack on like an off day, and he's wearing like a super expensive watch, and he got jacked up for it in the parking lot. But he's a pretty tough dude. He wasn't rattled like at all. Like this dude, like I said, like he's got balls of steel. He's from Kentucky. This guy. He's like a farm boy. So he's on the hill now with a lot on the line. It's funny, too, because I've always thought of Walker Buehler a lot like the Bulldog Oral Hershiser, and Hershiser was on the hill when the Dodgers won the championship. So a lot of little symmetries. He kind of looks like him, too, if you look at him.
That's true.
Man, yeah, you know what I mean, Babano? If you look at his body and his face, like, it's sort of like, it's like, if you look quickly, it's like, man, he looks like the Bulldog a bit up there. Like, he looks really like a horse. Look at his stance and everything, too. Like, don't put the first guy on, Walker. All right? Don't put the first guy on. Oh, you get out of this, I'll buy you a new watch. Not as expensive as the last one.
He's going to buy you a Rolex.
Timex. Here's a Timex. Thanks, Walker.
John Daly, all my exes wear Timexes. Yeah, you can't afford a Rolex. He's the best.
Maybe a Casio.
Yeah, upgrade to a Casio. That's the best. Well, that's a good tip, though, Gabe. When you're rich, don't wear like expensive jewelry and watches to racetracks. It's just leave the good stuff at home in your safe, please.
Dude, the Laker fans robbed Jerry West in the parking lot after a Laker game once. Like, they don't care who you are. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they're going to rob you. They don't know who you are. I guarantee you, they just saw some like rich-looking white dude. And they figured, look at that watch. Like, we're going to jack this guy. Like, you know what I mean?
For sure.
Like, that's the way, you know. But I'd say you got to take the watch off. But Buehler's a pretty big dude too. So, but like I said, I think they pulled a gun on him. So 7-6. Buehler's got one out here. They got to ground out the first. So now it's Austin Wells up at the plate. And man, the Dodger dugout is tense. There's my boy Clayton Kershaw. And yeah, man, these guys are all seriously on edge, and I understand why. Okay, let's get to a couple of the big games quickly as I stress this out, Babano. Actually, you know what? I'll throw it to you. CFL playoffs. I want to get to this. We're on the right time. So CFL playoffs, what do you think? Red Blacks and Argos, who you got?
I feel like Toronto's going to win. I'm not totally comfortable laying 6 because their defense is still sometimes a little bit shaky. And I think Ottawa did kind of get themselves healthier down the stretch. And I know it was Hamilton the final game, but Drew Brown played pretty well. That's a good sign, for the Red Blacks going into this playoff game that he got right. But I think Toronto, considering the disappointment of how painful that was against Montreal in the East Final last year, and Chad Kelly had the nightmare game, 4 interceptions. I mean, Montreal turned that game into a nightmare for him. There's probably that onus for the Argos. Let's get it done this year. And I think they get it done. I don't love laying 6, but I think Toronto wins. I'd lean to the laying the points in that game. Lean to the over there as well.
I agree. We had McKinnis on last night, and Cam, I believe you and McKinnis were on Team Ottawa plus the points.
And the over.
I think this is where Toronto dial it up a notch, actually. I think their offense is going to put points up on the board. I'm normally a guy that wants to take the underdog, and oh boy, he strikes out Austin Wells. Alex Verdugo is the last one coming up here.
Final out.
The Dodgers are 1 out away. Oh, my God. I got goosebumps. I'm fired up. Let's go, baby. This is it. Finish this off.
You know what, Gabe? I don't know what that
Finish
feeling's
this
like.
off.
My teams all suck. Never get goosebumps.
It's been quite a run for me, Cam. Michigan with the championship last year.
Seriously.
I'm still buzzing about the Dodgers. How about the Raptors, Dodgers, Michigan?
You know what?
Maybe Dodgers again. Now the Bills are the last beacon here this year.
Yes,
the Bills.
yes. No one's talking about the Bills. The Bills are a damn good team. If you can find a way to beat Kansas City, imagine the Bills win the Super Bowl. I'll be thrilled for you guys. Bills are my second team.
You know this, you know Buffalo, Cam. If the Bills win the Super Bowl, it'll be a good day. But I guarantee you, there'll be like multiple deaths. Like people are going to drop dead of a heart attack.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like seriously, like some old pizza, been waiting for I've been waiting for the Bills to win until I die.
You're so right.
They're going to be like, Dad, what happened? Dad, like they're going to be like 911 calls.
You're right.
They won.
The Bills won. My dad had a heart attack. No, you're right.
Yeah. And the Dodgers win the World Series. The Dodgers win the World Series.
You talk about how these series came to a head and what has been happening in this postseason for the Yanks. Offensively, it hasn't been Aaron Judge.
Baseball is such a big win here. All you ask for, East Coast Monster City, West Coast Monster City, the biggest of biggest Titan superstars on both sides here, 2 mammoth fan bases. The entire country can buy into this one.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
Did they talk about the play they ran at the end of the game when it was the worst flare screen I've ever seen in the history of basketball? No. See, here's what you got to do, Sherwood. I respect you. You're fantastic. But damn it, don't blame the officials. When you have a game like that close, there's about 100 or 1,000 different things you could have done differently that could have won you the game.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
I tend to do this a lot, by the way. I do it more in baseball with the anytime home run, where I may play 4 players at home run. I call it covering the board. You know, if I take 4 players, bet the same amount on each, I only need to hit 2 of them and I win money.
He's already got 438 rushing yards on the season. He's looking like the old LT days where the Chargers were able to have that strong, dominant running back.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
They lost in Neyland to Tennessee, 24-17. Again, and look, that puts Alabama in a very tough spot. I was looking at the SEC standings just before. They've got 2 losses now in conference because they lost that Vandy game.
They're still one of the top-ranked teams in the country when they lose. Everyone else drops like a brick when they lose, except for Alabama.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
And the Los Angeles Dodgers win the World Series as we were going into the break, baby. The Dodgers cash their 8th World Series championship in a winner-take-all, do-or-die, have to positively win the World Series to silence the critics. Dave Roberts, his legacy now grows. World Series champion as a player, of course, part of the only team that ever came back. He's the one that stole the base that got the whole thing going for the Boston Red Sox, and wins the World Series as a manager with the Dodgers. Now wins another World Series as a manager with the Dodgers. So say what you will about Dave Roberts. He can't hear you. It's like Patrick Waugh. I can't hear you because my Stanley Cup rings are blocking my ears, right? As he famously told Jeremy Roenick, right? So Dave Roberts, say what you want. He can't hear you, bro. He's got too much bling right now. Like, what's that? Right? Shohei Ohtani, guys, in his first year with the Los Angeles Dodgers. His dream was to play for the Dodgers. He wins a World Series in his first year with the Dodgers after years of misery with the Angels. All those years, Mike Trout right now must be sitting at home.
Poor
just
Mike
thinking,
Trout, he's in purgatory still there.
Yeah, he's thinking yeah, but you know what? He's saving on it's a $450 million cash purgatory.
Yeah, he's doing. You're right. His money's
He's a big
nice.
money pile of money.
Yeah.
He's sad. He's sitting on top of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's not act like he's.
He's loaded. Don't worry about it. Trout's fine.
He'll be fine.
He's fine.
Yeah.
Freddie, how about and honestly, how about Freddie
He's got
Freeman?
450 million reasons to be fine. Yeah.
How about Freddie Freeman? One of the nicest guy in baseball and one of the nicest guy in sports.
Yes.
His mother dies of cancer when he's 10 years old. Grows up with his two other brothers and his father, and like his father said the other night, he goes, I just got Freddie in to play baseball so he'd have some friends. So he just wasn't alone as a kid. He goes, just wanted him to have fun. And, of course, grows into this. Freddie's young kid nearly died. His baby nearly died. His kid nearly died this year during the year. Then he's so injured. His injury that he had, guys, people would be out for 6 weeks. He played. Like, it was like Kirk Gibson. Like, he couldn't walk. Like, you know what I mean? And he sucked it up. Shohei Ohtani playing with that pain. You see him running, holding his shoulder. He's holding his arm in place, basically, when he's running. And he's telling the guys.
Freddie hustling down the first baseline the last game.
Yeah,
coming
with a
off
bad
an
ankle.
Situation. Yeah, hustling with everything in his might to beat out the throw. Incredible.
Yeah, all of them. Like each player. Mookie Betts with all those defensive plays that he made in right field and like keeping singles instead of doubles and little hits here and there. Will Smith, like behind the plate, didn't hit, but just, solid behind the plate. A home run here and there. Teoscar Hernandez, guys, throughout the playoffs. Grand slam against San Diego, like against the Mets. Like it was a complete effort. It really was one of those. All the bullpen guys. Yamamoto, wow. It's great stuff. And hopefully the Buffalo Bills, like Cam said, maybe the Bills, they could pull that off.
I'd love it, Gabe. Honestly, the way things are going with you too, I wouldn't even be surprised. Look with Michigan and look at the way the teams are winning. Michigan was almost down and out against Alabama. Think about it. These are not just wins. Freeman.
So Michigan were down.
They
were down to their last 4th and 2. Actually, like they didn't convert. They weren't gonna. They were gonna lose the game to get it to overtime.
Grand slam. Freeman in extra innings. Michigan down to a 4th and 2. Man, like imagine the
5-0 comeback tonight. Down 5-0 at Yankee Stadium.
Like these are epic stories. Like I'm telling you. Like if you almost give.
But remember we talked about the
like,
Bills.
Yeah.
Remember, Cam, we said it with the Bills. You can see they have a different edge this year. I said Josh Allen's different, man. I saw his press conference today. And and he didn't even crack a smile. He goes, yeah, we're 6-2, so what? It's a long season. He goes, we have a big game against Miami this week. And you can just sort of tell, like, and normally I'd be like, yeah, the Bills are in a bad spot this week. They always kill Miami. And they also always hurt Tua, too. If I was Tua, like, I'd be worried. The last 2 times Tua got hurt, it was against the Buffalo Bills, actually. It's a weird spot for them. I wouldn't be surprised if the Bills tag them. All right, but Batty, we only got 15 seconds here. BC Lions or Riders, 3.5 points. That's the spread. Who are you taking?
It's one of those deals where if it was less than a field goal, I'd like to see about 3.5. Seeing the way BC kind of came together when Vernon got that start against Montreal, I think plus 3.5. I'm looking at BC. That's the game I really like the over in. I think you're going to see a lot of points. Harris and the Riders will move that
there's
ball
your 10 seconds, Babetto. I gave it more, but the Dodgers win the World Series. Other than that, you're on your own.